Episode 123. We've got the HGA boys are with you once again. Matt Ashley, Jason Ledlow, Trevor Nelson. Thanks everybody for coming. Appreciate you. We're gonna talk about out of event fundraising strategies, which may seem a little bit off the beaten path, but it'll have practical application for your events. And Matt Ashley, Jason, of course, both with decades of experience. I'm kind of just still being coached in the space and learning every single day. But this is really, really cool because they both have successfully produced a ton of fundraising events. So anytime we can get both of them on at the same time to share some of this knowledge with the audience, we're happy to do so. Of course, we're going to have a chat feature. It's always open. If this is the first time that you're coming to our webinar, this is not your grandmother's webinar. So it's not going to be just talking and recording and this and that and the other thing. It's meant to be very interactive and personal and take a bunch of questions. So at any time, please feel free to stop us, ask a question. We'll get to everyone's questions and comments and experiences, and that's what this is all about, is sharing this information. Q&A function at the bottom as well. If you're more comfortable doing that and leaving questions anonymously, you can certainly do so. And then of course, we always say stay till the end and win. We're going to be giving away a vacation item that you can use at your next event. And we'll be doing that before we kick everybody out. We're very respectful of the hour time that we have with you, so we won't go longer than that. And yeah, happy to be here with both of you guys, man. This is cool.
Yeah, it's good.
Good stuff.
Hey, one more thing. If you're watching this on the recording and you have a comment or you have a question, you'd like to have, please do so, because we really like that feedback. And
do it on YouTube.
So please,
subscribe and do it on YouTube and share it if you don't mind, everybody. That'd be awesome.
So, out of event fundraising strategies with nonprofits. So, we all think about events, and the thing I come up with a couple of things. One is my mind starts going about, we do a lot, donor engagement, and we do things to outreach, and we're looking for reasons to do it. And if you had if you've already had your event for the year, you got 6 months now, well, not quite 6. Now we're almost through it. So 5 months before the end of the year, there's a lot of opportunity to do some really good things. And that's why I think having Matt on here is really good today, because he's got some things, that I've not ever encountered, or at least not really thought about. But we're going to talk about some fundraising, some real stuff. And, to give you really some specifics, there's 4 things we're going to talk about, which is a pre-event raffle, online auction, a golden ticket, and sponsor events. And so we hope that when you get done, that you'll hear this and see what, some ways that you can do some things that might be outside your comfort zone. That's okay. We want you to stretch something that you got a lot of experience with. If you do, by all means, please share. And anyway, we'll get going. So, the importance, and one thing I think is a point that Matt made in this, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it now, because I'm going to get to the other part. The importance of tailoring strategies for your organization's mission, audience, and resources. And I think, we have this idea that one size fits all, and that's not quite true. I'm going to say that there's these things are going to be one size with some tailoring. Okay. So we want to just know this is kind of this is not a bespoke. We're not going to build it from scratch. These are things that you can do pretty quick, get them set up. But you might want to tweak a few things. So some rules of the road. So we're going to start with the first one, is something that I've been involved in lots of raffles and doing anything, but I've never thought about as a pre-event raffle. So Matt, the very first one is pre-event raffles. So why don't you give us some feedback on that?
Thanks, Jason. Thanks again for having me on. Pre-event raffles, all these topics we're going to talk about, is, like you mentioned, Jason, are really opportunities to pull in dollars to your organization outside your main event. And what we see, working with a lot of different organizations, they really focus on that one event a year as kind of your big, opportunity to pull in dollars for the org. And the pre-event raffle is really coupled with that event, but it's something that's a great opportunity to give your volunteers, a tool to go talk to people about coming to your event. If you have a volunteer, force within your organization that are spreading the good word and trying to, at a grassroots level, get people to come to your event and attend and support. The organization I worked with previously, we had a lot of success adding some different pre-event raffles to that main event. And some of them made sense to, give as tools to our volunteers who are going out into the community to talk to people, to get them to either support our organization or attend our event. And it gives them a reason to start a conversation. And if they speak to someone who might want to support your organization and not be able to come to their event, it gave them an opportunity, a reason to give. So that's really the gist of it, Jason. And these can be structured a lot of different ways. But some things you can consider, they could be an unlimited raffle, something you don't have, you limit the number of tickets. It could be a limited chance raffle, similar to our golden ticket raffle that we offer. You have, hey, we have a certain number of tickets we're selling, and drive that, desire to have a good chance to win. I jumped on a webinar a few webinars ago, and we talked about the kind of never ending concept, kind of the mix of those two.
Yeah.
You could continue to turn it over, but keep that limited odds to drive demand. But man, that gives you an opportunity to engage with the community, pull in some dollars to your organization.
Yep.
Are associated with your event, and also help, engage and hopefully sell more tickets. It gives that, your volunteers, your organization, a means of, pulling in some dollars outside the event that they aren't going to be in the room that night.
We
a
talk
reason
about
to
this,
engage. I like that.
yeah, it's exactly where I was going.
Yeah,
It's a
I love
reason
that.
reason to engage with somebody on something specific, to talk about the mission,
Yep.
tell them about the dollars, what the dollars are going to do, and just to really make that introduction. Now, I'm going to ask you, Matt, in your experience, kind of what were like the denominations maybe that you use, the dollars, like let's just say the pre-event raffle, and like what were some of the prizes, things like that. Be specific. So those of you who don't know, Matt's our director of fundraising partnerships. I just want to be real clear about that. He works with a lot of our national groups. He worked for the Rocky Mountain Elks Foundation for over 8 years, was their #1 fundraiser in the entire United States, in the little area of lightly populated state of Montana.
Yeah.
So he lives in Anaconda, Montana. And I'll tell you guys, he's not on work release right now. I know it kind of looks like it. And we mentioned this previously before everybody was on, but he's actually in a schoolhouse that is at his family's ranch in eastern Montana. Yeah, so he's awesome. Got 3 beautiful little girls that, and so they're overseeing your parents, because Anaconda is actually in western Montana. For unless you really know Montana, you wouldn't know that, I don't think. But so he has all this experience. So I want you to use that experience for us, Matt, and then we'll talk about how we can translate it to somebody else's event.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned earlier, you want to tailor it to your organization. You want to make that denomination and what your ticket price is significant enough it makes a difference. I wouldn't recommend doing $5 or $10. I mean, $20 increments would be the very, very bottom end.
Yeah.
I recommend more of leaning towards more of $100 type increment, because it's making a lot bigger difference to the organization that way. And you have a limited number of volunteers, limited number of interactions to people in the community. And you might miss a few people that $100 is too much, but it's really not if they want to support the organization and raise a lot more money. I'd recommend $50 at the bottom end, probably $100 or more. It could be $200, $250.
Sure.
But or in that range, fitting your organization, I would say, is a good price point.
Love it.
I want to ask a question specifically on that. So I'm going to use Beverly, for example. I know Beverly, she had her event. They're in Norman, Oklahoma, wonderful client. They had a very successful event, but one of the things that they struggle with, because their event, and that's why I think this strategy really would be great for them, because they basically, this is not a place where you sell tables. They don't do, it's a wine tasting and a taste all, they have all the restaurants from the community come in and set up. And so it's like a taste of the Norman and all that.
Love that.
And so I think this is a really great deal. But one of the things I know that a lot of people struggle with in their events when they're trying to draw the higher end part of the community, the more affluent people have money. Let's just cut through the deal. People that have money. One of the things that I think this would be a really good tool to kind of divine whether this is going to be somebody who's going to be into our mission, who can, number one's capable, because they're not capable of buying $100 ticket. That's really not who we're looking for on this type of event. I want to be real clear. Am I right, Matt? This is we're trying to engage with some high, not maybe the highest net worth people, but people that could make a significant gift if they wanted to.
Yep.
Yeah. They have some resources. So this kind of becomes a filter, because if you're out selling tickets for $5, $10, $15, number one, it takes a long time to make any money.
Yeah.
Right.
If you got to sell 1,000 tickets.
Yeah.
At $10.
Yeah.
For 1,000, to get $10,000.
Right.
You have to sell 100 tickets for 100.
So
bucks. Which one's easier? It's going to be a lot easier, because your volunteers are going to get tired. And a great example is, there was an organization down in Texas many, many years ago. I'm going to pick on Texas for a minute, but is this where it came from? Somebody had this great idea, and they said, "Hey, we're going to go out. We're going to raffle off like a side by side. It was, I don't know, it was a 4-wheeler side by side, some kind of an ATV," and they did.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing's like $10,000, and they didn't have possession of the side by side or the ATV. They raffled it off, only sold about $4,000 in tickets.
Yeah.
Got a problem. But the problem was, from what I understand,
was too low,
they were selling tickets for $10.
Yeah.
They sold 2,000. They sold almost 2,000 tickets.
Yeah.
But they had interactions, but it just, the math just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I want to just come back and suggest to you, keep those things in mind when we're talking about these. That's the tailoring.
Yeah.
Now, I just gave an example of how I think somebody could do that for like Latour that Beverly does, because I think, at $100 is really good, because Beverly, what's your ticket price? What's the ticket price to come to tour? Isn't it like $100 or $125? Let's see if Bev's going to put it in the comment.
Yeah.
150.
150.
So it's 150 per person or per couple. But regardless, either way, okay. Per person. So it's $300. Okay. So if we're selling something for $100, we definitely would want that to be $100, because those are the people we're looking for, because to come to our events, 150 per person. So maybe even go up even from there.
I think there's a certain exclusivity to it. I think it's, cool. I like the add-on, Bev, the additional 50 to add whiskey. I think that's really smart, and having a price point with that, if not even more. I mean, how many, while we're talking about it, getting in the
minutia. I got I'm sitting there thinking about this, but here's the thing. If you add a whiskey tasting for $50,
yeah.
Well, you're not getting a buyer. You're just getting somebody who wants to come and drink whiskey.
Yeah, sure.
But if you make that $200,
I was going to say, how was a success
like
at 50? Yeah. How many tastings did you sell at 50, Bev?
Yeah.
Because if you had any success with that, I would highly recommend, quadrupling that, doubling it, whatever you're comfortable with, I suppose. Or what you're uncomfortable with. We're okay with
sell it for $250, get some really awesome bourbon that they get to taste, some something crazy, and then let them win something in the meantime. But anyway, and I don't want to get off topic, but I just want to say,
well, it's a good example. It's a good example, because there's a certain exclusivity to pricing, and we're big believers in price point. And I know, Matt, you were like, I wouldn't go less than $50. And that is like a hard floor for us, right? We're going to do our best, delicately, politely, to talk folks out of selling things for less, if they were interested in selling things for less than that. Very, very interesting.
Well, I want to say something. I want to say something about that though, Trevor.
Yeah.
If you're trying to raise $25,000 and you're just you've got a small event, and it's just, we're going to have a spaghetti dinner and we're going to do things, you could still do it, but that's going to be, just understand that's where the tailor part comes in.
Sure.
But it takes no more time, no more effort to ask for $50 than it does to ask for 5, 10, or 20. And if you can communicate the mission, which it's really easy, print what you want people to say right on the ticket.
Yeah.
Love
that.
Give it to them.
I think there's an exclusivity to it. Back in the day in business school, they called it prestige pricing. And I always took that with me. I was like,
good, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they charge you more for Air Jordans because they're Air Jordans, or they charge you more for a Mercedes because of the logo. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's
all that way.
Yeah. Totally. So I always took that with me, actually, the prestige pricing. I think that's important. And I think there's a certain exclusivity to it when we're dealing with price points.
Yeah, good point.
For sure.
Okay, well, that's good. Anybody have any questions on pre-event
raffles? Yeah. which I think is awesome.
I've never
Great
seen it
engagement
used.
idea.
I think it's a really great though to
Yep.
engage, getting people
Yep.
moving. I just think it's a wonderful idea.
Yep.
And online auctions.
Big
So
fan.
let's talk
Big
about
fan.
that.
Big
Yeah,
fan.
I don't know if we can go into too much depth of what an online auction is. What we want to address is something we see all the time is organizations see an online auction as an opportunity to raise more funds throughout the year, but they really fall short on the advertising part of
Mhm.
getting the word out about it. And you can put up the best online auction, and if you fall short on getting it out to to people to drive traffic to your online auction,
Mhm.
not going to have the support and spending and bidding on it that's
Right.
going to come and really benefit the organization. So that's really what I want to talk about. We see organizations that do extremely well with them, and we see others that put one post on social media and maybe send out one email
Yeah.
thinking people are going to come, and it's just really not enough
Yeah.
is what I see. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback too on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I want to hit Becky's question really
Yeah,
quick. Becky,
please.
on pre-event raffles, no, they do not have to attend. That's the whole point. This is an engagement to get people to basically just to build your list, to build your contact of people, potential fans, maybe future donors, future attendees. We want them to come to the
Yeah.
event, but it's a way you can engage with them.
Can you expand on
Um,
that a little bit, Matt? Like, how is the raffle tied to the event for Becky's question?
Yeah, it's up to you. You could run it completely, pre-event where you're not going to have it at the event. Often we would run it throughout the event. So we'd structure it where, we'd sell raffle tickets before the event, but we'd also be selling that same raffle at the event as well for attendees that hadn't had a chance to participate.
Gotcha.
So give you a chance to expose it to, everyone outside the event that you're marketing to via your, all your social media, email campaigns, mailers, if you do those, your grassroots, like I mentioned, your volunteer force and yourself that are out promoting the event.
Right.
And then, in the event itself, you can continue to sell that.
Love it.
well, and
love
you may
that.
have a volunteer that's not going to ask anybody for a $5,000 sponsorship,
Mhm.
but they go sell a ticket for $100. And
Right.
let's say that they do. And then all of a sudden that comes up and they go, well, how I'd like to go. Hey, you know what? I'm going to put you in touch with Becky and she's going to help you get, figure out if let you send everything to you. And all of a sudden, Becky, you've got somebody brought to you on a silver platter who's obviously, wants to go. They've spent some money, bought a raffle
Yeah.
ticket,
Yeah.
they spent $100 already. So,
Yeah.
let you say thank you. And
I don't think we can
Mhm.
underestimate the value in sharing the message of the mission, however it might be, because I'm just thinking macro. I'm thinking big picture, wide net. It obviously could culminate in your event. It could be once a year. It's just another opportunity for attention to the mission is
Yeah.
how I view it as well. Obviously, we want folks to buy the tickets and get involved for obvious reasons because we want to raise money. But I just think it's another really cool opportunity. So, and I
Well,
mean,
you
segues nicely.
You
Go
could
ahead.
run it the same way. Let's just say that you have your event in the spring and
Mhm.
now you're coming to the fall and you're wondering, what could we do?
Yeah, I love
Here's an
it.
opportunity for you to go out and ask for people for money. You're not asking them for thousands. You're
Mhm.
just reaching out, and this kind of becomes a way to engage with new donors. You don't
Love it.
necessarily have to go through everybody that you've already hit.
Mhm.
You're looking for new donors to try to increase your base.
I love it. I love it. It segues nicely into online auctions that you were talking about, Matt. And then you were talking briefly, and we're very big believers in this about advertising and making sure that we have the regular, I want to call it drip marketing, but you know what I mean? It's
Well,
constant. We're constantly in front of folks about it as opposed to one email and one post. Here's the online auction. We got to hit it
yeah.
hard, right? Text
Well,
messaging,
I was going to
the
say,
whole
you've
nine.
got to advertise an online event has got to be even more than one that you're physically going to come to, because you're not going to send a written invitation to people,
Yeah.
the snail mail written
And
invitation,
they need
whatever
to be
you want to call it,
reminded. Yep.
For sure.
to do
Over and
that.
over.
The second thing is you kind of have to plan everything out, because let's just say that you're going to run your online auction, and I'm going to just pick a day. I'm going to say 5 days. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, for those 5 days, here's what, why it's so critical for the pre-event planning, because you don't want to say, okay, we're going to start out here. And then you go, okay, what are we going to do for our post today?
Right.
Well, it's 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
You should have had this done 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, before you ever started. So that way it just goes. A couple of rules that we've learned in this is don't ever repeat the same post.
Yep.
In other words, if you're posting on, and you can use all the same one on all the same media for the first, let's say day one on the email. But when you go to do it the next day, it's got to be something completely different. You can't rerun it multiple times. Don't just, if you're going to post 5 times a day, it's got to be 5 new posts during the day. There's
Love
zero benefit about reposting something. Nothing.
Yep.
You get nothing for it. And
We'll let people do that for us.
the failures that we've seen, the failures that we've witnessed and seeing people that, they wanted to try something, or they call up after the fact and they go, hey, yeah, we did this and it really sucked. We didn't have anybody bid. We didn't sell anything. And we go look and go, okay, so let's go back and look at everything that you did. Well, how many times did you post? Well, we put we posted on Facebook and we sent out an email. When did you send the email out? Well, we sent out one. Then we only had so many people, it gets to those things where they just really underperformed when it came to letting people know. You have to let them know, 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 let them know.
Yep.
And make sure it's enough things that are different. If you're going to send out an email every day, which I would, if you're going to go to all that deal, you got to send out 1 to 2 emails a day. But it can't just be, hey, check out our online auction. Hey, check out our online auction.
Highlight something about
our online auction. And you're doing it every day. It just because once we see it once, our brain will filter it out nowadays.
Totally.
Right. What do you think, like an email going out, here's the date of the online auction, then like kicking it off, then 1 or more each day highlighting items in the auction?
I think that you start off with highlighting an item to let people, to get people's attention.
Yeah.
Something that you've got that's really kicking. It's going to be there before the auction's opened.
Yep.
This is coming. This is coming. This is coming.
Yep.
And within that, you're telling people why they're going to, you're telling people why this is here.
I like that, April.
Get to meet Matt Ashley and find and hang out in the schoolhouse, that was built in 1842 and was moved to the ranch and such in Montana. And that's going to be the first thing out there. And the reason we're doing this, thank you for Matt for doing this, because this is going to help us send kids to camp this summer or next summer. Whatever the mission is, always we want to tie it back to the mission. I beg you, I plead with you, don't talk about your organization. Nobody cares. At this point, no one cares. If they want to find out, you can have a link in your social media post. They can go to your website and check you out. Talk about your mission. That's what's going to, because all we're trying to do is get attention. We're not trying to tell them our history for the last 50 years that we've been around and we're a 501c3 and we're, yada, 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 and all this, that, and the other. Nobody cares at this point. We're just trying to get their attention.
Yep.
And so keep those things in mind whenever you do it. Brevity is bestity. That didn't work very well, but brevity is best.
Yeah.
Brief, less is more.
I love it. That's good. It's a good opportunity to advertise in general. So I think it's great.
April, to your point, you're building momentum.
I love that.
And I like teasers. I love the tease. I like to say, stand by for news. Okay. Right. For those of y'all know who Paul Harvey was. So you've got this standby and then you go, basically there's nothing coming in 5 days. Huge news, something, whatever it is, don't miss this. And then flash a picture or something really fast. Find out more this day. You just got to build people's curiosity, because once then they're going to be looking for it. And then when they see it, then they're going to start bringing it in. I mean, and this is, we could sit here and spend the next 6 hours talking about ways that you can do this. This is where you got to get your team together, give them an outline, say, okay, or, talk to your marketing company, talk to your marketing person. Everybody's got that person in here who's their creative person on your board, volunteers. Maybe you've got some volunteers or somebody that's been a sponsor that could help you come in and do this if you don't have somebody regularly doing it. Organizations, for those of you that don't have someone, a lot of times organizations, these marketing firms will do this pro bono for something like this, because this is not forever. We're not going to do this for a year. I've just got one campaign I'm going to do. I get to go do it. I'm a sponsor. The key sponsor for it. I get to go promote it, and it gets, they get some advertisement and some shine out of it,
Yeah.
but it's
And
not a long
their
commitment.
work is out there.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is so this lets you do a short commit for them where they're not spending the next 6 months trying to do it for free. That's really
Yeah.
hard, and a lot of nonprofits don't have budget for it. So this
Yeah.
gives you a way to go about that.
Yeah, if you don't have a paid social media person on staff, which is not super common, I don't think, I'm assuming this, it's such a prolific space now. There's someone on your committee, on your board, someone on your staff that does know someone, or a sister-in-law that they crush it on Instagram, what have you. We all know someone in the space. There's 0 degrees of separation now with that. Like I said, such a prolific space in the advertising world. So why not? Absolutely. And then, hey, guess what? Use a few, try a few, get a few of them on board, because their work is what they're promoting, right? They're promoting the mission, for your cause, but they're promoting their own work by doing it, right? So, and if it works, the score's on the board. You know what I mean? So I think it's a great idea.
I want to add a couple of things we just talked about. So, key to organize an online auction, platform selection. Okay. This is a big one. If you don't have somebody, check them out. Don't just go on price. Don't just go, well, I'm looking for the cheapest.
Free, we'll do it. Yeah.
You've got to find some, or the software that you're looking for is going to have the ability, not only obviously to be online, but most of the top, I'd say the top 4 or 5, they all have text messaging and email built in, included.
Yep.
You're going to be able to put all your, 10 images, at least 10 images up. And if you've got 10 shots of something, put 10 shots of something.
Yeah.
Don't leave it blank, go ahead and put it up there. People like to see it. They like details. And this is where you really spend some time and fill in all the blanks that you possibly can. It's not going to be on the headline, but in the body, there's going to be plenty of room for you to answer those questions, to give those things, because it's not like an event where you're in person. Okay. And in person, you've got somebody up there, an auctioneer who gets up there at the microphone, or, everybody's having cocktails and we're walking past the silent auction and we get a little having fun and we start, just getting the spirit of things. This is somebody, they're seeing it. They go, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's got to be something that's going to interest them. Absolutely. The mission's going to drive it, but it's going to have to really be heavy on what those things are.
Yeah. I'm big on video.
The platform. And then second is what you're selling.
For sure.
If you're selling a bunch of crap,
like coffee mugs,
you're going to crap out. Okay.
Coffee mugs.
You're going to shoot snake eyes and crap out. It's not going to work. Yeah. This is not what we're trying to do. We're trying to make sure that you've got your things, items, experiences that people are going to want. Agreed. And they're going to want no matter when it is. And so that's what this is an opportunity to do. And the other thing that I would say, don't look at as if you're spending your money. Look as if you're spending your donor's money. Okay. Yeah. Look and think about what they have the capacity to buy and what they would buy, not what you would buy. And I'm talking about all the way through. So the great thing about an online auction, you can have all the above.
Right.
You can have the $30,000, item. You can have the 15, the 10, the 5, the 2, and the 500s, if you've got some kind of a cool thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then it's also, you could do another raffle along with it. So instead of having some cheap item and saying, well, would you go ahead and give us $100 anyway, if there's nothing here? Yeah. Let them buy a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
The donation's fine. I see a lot of times people do that, and people will go and spend, they'll give them $50 and they would have given 100.
For sure.
Yeah. Opportunity. They need the opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I know we want to be equal opportunity receivers, but we're here to raise money, not to.
Yeah. I mean, whether you believe in the power, the law of abundance and the power of technology or whatnot, shoot for the moon. Don't be afraid to put the high dollar item on there, because what's going to end up happening is someone that's never even been connected to your mission is going to find out about it through someone who is connected to your mission, because they're going to share it. And this is such a big world. And now that we're so interconnected, and you're using the advent of these technologies to raise money now, which we think we're very bullish on online auctions. That's for sure, because we've seen the power of them and the efficacy of them and how well they work at raising money. But it's 2023. So think about it. Hopefully you're looking at your worldview is appropriate. And listen, someone could be saying, hey, a wealthy individual says to someone that's connected to your mission, in passing, oh man, I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica and I have a big family, and lo and behold, you have an online auction, you're offering a villa for 10 and it's got a high price tag, but the person shares it with their friend. That's how the world works. And that's how these things are being sold right now. So why not get with the program? You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to do it. And hey, it's a great, even if it doesn't sell, it's a great advertising tool. So it's not a loss.
Yeah. There's,
you know what I mean?
That's
it's
the
exciting,
Yeah. Okay. I've got one thing that you brought up because you held up the most powerful fundraising tool in the world.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
It made me think. You can have your top donors, your board, your volunteers. You can share the auction online via text. Because it's just a link. This isn't a software that nowadays. Oh, this is want to say when you're picking a software out, don't do something they've got to download an app.
No,
that's
don't do
friction.
it. There is
much friction.
Nobody's going to do it. But all the best softwares now, most of the top ones we work with, I don't know of anybody that has an app. That's why I'm saying if you get one like that, because they say it's free, and just don't do it.
It's fickle. So,
in anything worth free, there's a reason it's free. Remember that.
It's
not free. Free is not free. So, but they can send that link and start sending that, and they can send a specific that item to those people that they know. You talked about, we've got a place in Costa Rica called, and it's incredible.
We sold it online though. We've sold that item online.
Oh no, it has. Yeah, it's absolutely sold online.
But,
and so you've got all the stuff, and let's say that somebody like you're talking about that, and it says, hey man, check this place out. Because, maybe somebody that loves to travel and they've got a big crew and they want to go, and it fits their pistol because that they can spend that kind of money.
Yeah.
And that's how it does two things. One is it allows us to access those dollars. Two, when they do buy it, all of a sudden we have a new donor that can write a check for $10,000 and not miss it.
It's a huge.
We've got somebody
huge
now
opportunity.
That we can do. Yeah, that's a huge deal because now we've spread our base really. We've not only gone this way, but we've gone this way with the accessible dollars.
Yeah, don't mind me saying this, but to go even further on that, because that's the space that we're in. I was just sharing with you guys last night, 400,000 new passport applications weekly in the United States. 400,000. That's over 20 million passport applications annually just for U.S. citizens. So if
that
you don't
tells
think
you
that,
everything you want to know, that people
if there's like experience or people have that appetite
States
to go and they wouldn't buy something like that, in an online auction or an in-person event, frankly, or in a raffle, a pre-event raffle, think again, because that's what the market is telling us. We're just paying attention, so.
Well, and here's the thing, and I know there's a lot of professional fundraisers on here that are listening to this, whether you're listening to recording, you're on right now, and you're going, I just finished up my event. I don't want to have to go hustle stuff up again. You don't have to.
No,
we've
not.
got clients that have raised a lot of money very successfully where they didn't go do anything. This was an alternate deal. They said, hey, we've got this thing that we got brought to us. It kind of got dumped in our lap. We need to try to go raise $50,000 for it. Can we just use your stuff and do this? We've got a couple things that we had a holdover we'll throw in, and that's how they did it. And that's, they put that in and raised significant amount of money. And it really, so it cuts down on the pressure for the staff to go and get this stuff ready. It's something you can spool this up pretty darn fast. We're in the trip business, so I mean, it's not all altruistic on our part. However, you can spool something up like this pretty fast, and you can put minimums how much money you make, so that way something doesn't sell for $5 over what the reserve is. We want you to make money, and
be strategic.
Whether it's our stuff or somebody else's, you got to make money. I got one last thing that I want to mention. If you do one of these, understand how they work. And what I'm saying is you're going to promote, and it's going to feel like nobody's doing anything. Nobody's bidding.
Be patient. Stay the course.
Nobody's bidding. Nobody's done anything. We did one for a very large national nonprofit last
Yeah.
August.
Yep.
I bet before the last 2 hours of this auction, if there were 100 bids, I would have been surprised. I bet you there were not 100 bids. I don't have the exact statistics.
Yeah.
I'm going to get them because
Yeah.
I think it's bears sharing.
Well, it's like
How
online
many-
stuff's like Pareto's law, though. It's the 80-20 rule. You're going to get, 80% of the bids in the last, 20% of the
Well,
event.
it was even less than that, though. This is
Right.
where that law, in the
Yeah.
last like 2 hours, I think they raised over $500,000.
Yeah. It's wild.
And
Wow.
I know it was
Yeah.
more, probably it was around that or even more, but I'm saying in
Yeah.
the last 2 hours of a
Yeah.
7-day event, and they pounded this thing like crazy.
Yeah.
People were looking, people were ready, but when
Yeah.
it got to the end, they waited, and then that's when they started bidding.
You bet.
I think that's
Thanks so
great.
much.
I thought about that immediately when we started talking about online auctions, and we were talking about posting and just being patient and not
Mhm.
having crazy high expectations right away and just stay the course. And when
Totally.
it feels like you should stop, don't stop. That's just a reminder that you got to keep going. I love that you mentioned that, Jay, about being patient, and that, of course,
Well,
yes,
one of
we
our
are-
guys who set this up, he was calling me going, "Hey, there's nobody bidding. This is
Yeah, it's like
nothing
wah
happening.
wah wah.
It's not gonna." Yeah, and I was like,
Yeah.
"It's gonna be okay."
Yeah, it
said
opens up
there-
another question I wanted to beg of both
Yeah.
of you, actually, was and Matt, I think you alluded to this, or Jason did, I think, when we were talking about the outline at the onset of the webinar. You say every event has its own culture and atmosphere, and I've never forgotten that since you said that, and I thought that was really, really great, because that's something that everyone can take with them. Well, every online event has its own culture and atmosphere as well. It just so happens to be online,
For
right?
sure. For sure.
Now I wanted to get at you guys about and hear what's, because I know people wonder and they question us all the time, and they ask us this question. They don't question our motives or question us in general. What's the best timeline for an online auction? What is the best? 7 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, 1 month, never ending, open ended? Like what is your, you go, Matt, and then Jay, I want to hear your feedback on that too. What's optimal? Or give us a range.
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know if I have the data to support it, but I would say,
Yeah, what does your gut tell you?
I'd say 5 to 7 days. I
Mhm.
see other orgs running them for weeks at a time or for a
Mhm.
full month. I think it's too hard to build excitement and anticipation and really
And
get
keep it.
attention
Yeah.
to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 days, I think
Well,
would
I
be
just want
fine.
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Matt.
Yeah, that's my kind of thought, is 3 to 7 days, but
Yep.
you
Well,
want
I think if you go back to say we've got to have multiple posts, multiple emails on all platforms, and they've all got to be different.
Mhm.
You multiply that by all these days. How in the world can you possibly keep
Sustain it.
excitement and energy
Sure.
up for more than 7 days? I'm a 5-day guy, but
Yeah.
7 days I could see either one, because I think you start before and you're talking about it, posting. I think 10 days is the full cycle, because I think
Yeah.
you're telling people about it. Maybe even before that you do, but then
Yeah.
you start teasing it out, and then go for 5 days and close it.
Cool.
That's what I think.
I think at the
I-
very least, this opens the conversation. Just be very, very aware of this and be strategic about it, right? Be very thoughtful.
I would
and
not
intentional.
have it more open, though. Absolutely more than 7 days. That's
Cool.
just, if you go more than that,
Good.
it's to Matt's point. Everybody gets bored and they forget.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it.
And Becky, do you think everything needs to be included when you release a preview, or okay to continue to add things until it opens? Oh yeah, great. I love
Okay,
it.
I'm going to tell you what I think.
I love that
I
question.
think you need to have everything lined up, what you're going to put in there
Yeah.
before you start this program. This is no different than having a gala. We want to have everything mapped out, have
Precise.
your deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously if somebody came up and they go, "Hey, I want to donate to Weaken My Yacht," because I know Becky has a donor that has one.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, you could put that in there.
Sure. That's the
We're not gonna
flexibility
be
side.
talking-
Yeah.
Because we're not going to preview anything. We're not going to release it all. We're going to totally control this thing, where
Mhm.
all they get to see is what we want them to see.
Yeah.
So, and I wouldn't give all the information on anything. I would just give highlights and flashes.
I love
There-
that.
We're just
Build the
popping.
excitement.
Yeah, we're just going to give them a little taste, a little nibble, and then we'll get to see the whole thing. Because anticipation, we all know. I mean, it's just a thing. Anticipation builds, and it is
Yeah, all these things are
Well,
real. All these online things that you see in the posts and the fear of missing out, and
Yeah.
that's the world that we live in. Those things are real. You know what I mean? So we want to,
yeah.
we're not trying to gamify it, but we are trying, and we say this every, I'm sorry, forgive me for being a broken record. We say this every day. Donors are consumers.
Right.
They might be consumers with high net worth and access and tremendous amount of resources and uber wealthy, but at the end of the day, they're still consumers,
They're
right?
still,
So
they've got the same,
we gotta have that in
they've got the
mind.
same goldfish,
Yeah.
attention of a goldfish mentality. It just is.
Yes.
We're all
Yes.
that way.
Yeah.
So, I think there's a point to this too. You're just giving them a blip and a piece and a small deal, even on your email. Do not send a book.
Yeah. Good call.
Literally could have
No
3
dissertation.
words.
Yeah.
Coming soon
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
in the subject line, coming
Yeah.
soon, and one
Oh.
picture, and that's all you send out.
Hey,
Nothing. And you're
yeah,
going, what is it? I don't
think
know.
you can get really creative. Becky, you said you were playing with subject lines with Chat GPT. I think it's kind of cool to like create like little taglines like that and just play with it and test. You know what I mean? Why not? That's what you're doing. I think
Well,
I think it's the
I'd
fun
have
side.
everything. I agree with you, as far as doing that while you're communicating
Yeah.
in different ways of trying stuff and doing things. But when it comes to this, and the reason I say, because it's real easy for time to get away from us in an instant like that. Because I
Right.
think, oh, I've got 5 posts ahead. I've got plenty of time.
Yeah. I'm banked up.
Inevitably something blows up, something happens, and all of a sudden you're behind the 8 ball. You don't want to be that way. Have everything sitting, your confidence in that way you're there to answer questions. You can
Yeah.
talk to people. You can send, all I'm doing, I've got everything done. I
Yeah.
don't have to think about it anymore. And just in my experience, campaigns that have everything literally just like this, you can't really see it.
The outline. Yeah.
The outline, there you go. You can sort of see it.
Sure.
Everything that's all lined out exactly what we're going to do with all the materials ready to go.
Kind of like you run a show.
They have tremendous success.
Yeah.
The ones that go, yeah, we're going to just throw this out here and see what happens. Let's throw the hook in and they, it just comes unraveled at the seams.
Yeah.
Every time.
Jason,
Not part of the time. I've never seen anybody get lucky doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just doesn't work. So
Matt, we were just doing an online event with a new client, and they had some success, but and it was amazing because you and I both were like, oh my gosh, they could have just crushed it. But you said they did like 1 post and 1 email, right? I think that was what it was. It's like, don't let that happen to you. You know what I mean? I think it's just a cautionary tale. And then, like Jason said, we had this online national client raise $500,000 and got a tremendous amount of bids and a tremendous amount of money in the door within the last 2 hours. And they were deliberate about it. Yeah. And they do it once a year. It's really cool. I think, hey, we got to move on probably to the golden ticket.
I do. We were going to talk about a golden ticket. We've talked about it a lot. So I'm just going to skip that really, because I want to get to the sponsor event.
Yeah.
And I'd love Matt to talk about a sponsor event, because I think that's really important.
Yeah.
We'll let Matt talk now.
I'll dive into that. I had one point I want to make. I know we're
Sorry,
beating the online auction to death, but one point I think people don't maybe consider is, Jason, you mentioned how critical those last few hours of your auction is. When are you ending your online auction? What day of the week, what time of the evening, or
I
don't do it on a Monday.
Personally do not like it on the weekend. Okay. I would rather either do it on a Friday afternoon, afternoon, not evening, because you get into time with school and kids.
Happy hour.
It's
no,
just,
I'm joking.
Exactly. Weekend, people have ball games, grandkids, things start going on. I personally do not like to end it on a Friday afternoon. I would almost end it on a Thursday.
I'm with you. I like that.
That's just my experience and feedback.
Yeah, I like that. What do you think?
What's your experience on that, Matt?
Thursday evening, we ran a lot of them on Sunday evening, believing that hopefully the supporters were, at home. They weren't doing something on a Saturday night. They weren't, it wasn't during work hours. Let me see. Yeah, Sunday. Yep. That was prime time for us. Looks like Mark shared the same feedback.
Yeah, Sunday evening.
Yeah. So cool. I just wanted to touch on that. I thought
that was one other thing. Sorry,
I just
Matt,
don't want to compete with other stuff. So that's
we're gonna piggyback.
Might be a great time.
I'm gonna piggyback on that last
We
thing.
got to move on. We got to move on.
What was one thing though is that, like, if you nail it, people are gonna look forward to this annually, and when your next one's gonna be. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Fight online.
Yeah. But don't make it boring.
You're
Don't do the same.
conditioning folks in a
Really,
good
you got to
way.
jazz it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Sponsor event. Why don't you just go ahead and just tell us about sponsor event,
Give us a
Matt?
definition.
So, the use case, I guess, an organization I worked for, we had events in communities where we had maxed out the facility as far as attendance, and we really hit the ceiling on what we could fundraise with that event. So we're looking for opportunities. How do we have another event throughout the year, and really turn it into a stewardship event and attend our highest supporters that had the highest capacity. Use it as a tool to one, promote our main event, have them attend, have them support us, and have it as an invite only event, smaller, more close knit, event that was a stewardship event that had some, fundraising components in it, a little more intimate feel where it was kind of the who's who of who's supporting that organization. Gave us some opportunities to interact more with our greatest supporters in that community, but also as a pretty, unique opportunity to fundraise to our best supporters in that community.
Love that.
Yeah. So
there's an organization here that did an event like that, and the executive director or CEO since retired, and I've been trying to get her to come on to talk about it because I think it's just so worthwhile. They had less than 100 people. I think they capped it. It was either 50 or 100. I don't remember, but I think they raised $250,000.
right.
One evening, it was they kind of had just a party. Basically, is what they did was have a party, and they raised a bunch of money. But they focused exactly on what you're talking about, Matt. This was not a deal to get. This was the people that were already invested in the organization and had significant capacity.
100%. And you could invite, major donors, table sponsors. If you have them at your event, you can use it as a tool to promote your tables. If you're selling tables at your event. Becky asked if it's a free event. That's how we handled it. It was an invite only. We covered the cost and we had some fundraising. Yeah, it was seen as exclusive.
You had good success at this. I remember you telling me about this. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, for us, they were 100 to 150, 170 people in these communities. And what was interesting over time when we had these large events in communities, that sponsor event became, we had these people that were, because that event had grown so large, quit coming to these, that larger main event of ours. And they love the smaller feel of this, sponsor event that we created, at any other time of the year. You could invite your top auction spenders once you'd identified them, as people that could support, big cash sponsors. It can turn into a pretty lucrative event for you, and you're appealing to the people that are your highest supporters.
I like
so you could
this.
put some of those items, maybe you have a small live auction that's not as big as your traditional event. Maybe you have some live music, heavy hors d'oeuvres, or maybe a small meal.
A boutique silent auction.
Yeah. We ran, I think what I was sharing with you, we ran a vacation station at the event that one of the events I'm referring to.
Yeah.
And, being, working with HGA, I think we sold 13 HGA trips in a vacation station of 150 people. And, that for the organization I worked for was, over 15,000 net, 15 to 20,000 net, I believe.
Yeah. It's
So
awesome.
it was pretty significant.
These events can even work pre-event.
I love it.
We had a VIP party. It was real similar to this at an event that I attended and helped work. I was an attendee and on the committee, and then I did the auction for a couple of years, and before I retired. And the everybody that was a table sponsor was invited, so it was like 60 people. 60 in their couples. Not everybody would come that was invited, but it was kind of a small thing, totally out of pocket. Nobody had to pay to be there. This was an invite, and it was a party.
Yep.
And like I said, there's only let's just say there was 75 people who attended. They were all the top buyers, top donors, top deal, the whole thing. And they would have either an impromptu auction. They would have a couple of things, like this was a deal around with typically boxing, ultimate fighters, things like that. They would have something. Hey, you're going to get a picture, a glove, a such and such, so and so, something really cool that was there. And they would do that and raise, $10,000, $20,000 just on that one thing. Plus, then they'd have a little deal pre-sponsorship that they'd have a specific, deal available, and they would give it to them first. If they didn't sell it all, they would they would open it up to the event when they had that. But it was very successful. They would raise $200,000 the night of that event, before they ever had the full fundraiser.
Love it.
And I know other people that have done the same thing. And these are things that, Becky, you mentioned, is this free? This is a suggestion. This is not an experience share. This is just an idea and thought for you. If you think this might be one, start small.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about doing this and you don't really want to see it, do it very small. No more than let's say 50. So 25 of your top donors, sponsors, donors, things like that. Everybody who, your top 25, and, RSVP only, and send it out to the top 50.
Yep.
RSVP. This is how many seats we have.
Yep.
And once it's out, it's out.
Invite only.
And
I love it.
That way, because there are going to be people that miss out and they're not going to get to come, and it's going to just the miss out is going to eat them up.
That's right.
And then you go and you do the deal and ask them to come in. I mean, there's just some ways that you could do that, starting small, to, if you want to just see kind of how it works and get your feet wet without having a deal. But this is an event where I would highly suggest, you want people to go, and they're the top donors.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know. But you want them to know that we're going to raise some money. We're going to ask you for money, but we're asking you to come.
I love
not
it.
Required,
hey,
but we're going to ask you.
I forgive me if anyone doesn't feel this seems like a little off the beaten path. I think it's an awesome opportunity. I think it's awesome. I don't think a lot of people impart this strategy in their event lineup for the year. If anyone has any questions on how Matt went about it, or just want to touch base about it, or have any touch points they want to go over, Matt, I'm going to go ahead and make you available. But just reach out to Matt at hjfundraising.com, and he can share some time with you. That's what we do on a regular basis, is share time and information on how you could successfully produce an event like this. I think it's a phenomenal idea. We're also all available to talk about online auctions, like we mentioned, and pre-event raffles as well. So it's just our first names at hjfundraising.com. You can reach out to us. We got a free coaching button on the website, hjfundraising.com. This is not a plug. I'm just letting you know that we're available if you have any questions about stuff like this that we've gone over. So yeah. Were funds raised only via auction for the VIP event, Matt?
No, it was multiple fold, I guess, is how we handled it. The auction was a big part of it. Like I mentioned, we had a small live auction, 6 to 10 items ish, somewhere in there. Silent auction.
Everybody here going 6 to 10 items.
Yeah.
For us, that was small.
But you understand it was tailored. It's tailored to your donor base, tailored to your organization.
Yeah.
It was, and like you mentioned, Jason, it was really unique items. We got things that were never seen in the main event.
Yeah.
You had like that painter that you mentioned and stuff like that. Yeah.
We'd have one-off paintings. We'd have really unique bottles of bourbon. I mean, something
cool.
that's signed. They're really really curated and unique to that crowd.
Nice.
But one time we didn't run a raffle in the event, but we moved to kind of a really small, limited chance raffle, and that was really well accepted. And one of the events I'm referring back to is part of the ones I worked with a lot. It was originally started kind of as a stewardship event. We added more kind of fundraising opportunities over time.
Yeah.
Because what we realized is our biggest supporters were at that event, and they were no longer attending our fundraising opportunity.
Got it. Yeah. So you almost need it. You had to have it then. Yeah.
Who, had the capacity and willingness to support us, were at this event, and they want to give the organization. So we added some more over time, and it was always well received.
Yeah.
But we had an opportunity, to make cash donations or major giving. You want to balance it as kind of an appreciation, but also an opportunity to give. We had one to two raffles that were, really limited chance, high ticket values. So we only allowed to sell, just a handful, and it was really exclusive, nice prizes. And then we had that, like I mentioned, vacation station and live auction. They're kind of the four components that we used.
Great opportunity.
This is a really great way to,
as well, correct?
Yeah, it is. And it's something that you can do in the off season with your major donors to get them tuned up, to really, to get the mission, tell them what you've done, what you're doing, and what you're going to do.
Love that.
And that way they really bring them back to that mission. So, hey,
Yeah.
everybody, if there's a last question, we got a couple of minutes for that, but
Yep.
type it up there. But while we're doing that, we're going to send out this
Fun.
recording. If you got anything out of this, if this did anything to help you, and please share this with other fundraising, nonprofit professionals. We really just want to get the word out. No obligation, no nothing. Just we're going to send this out in a recording. You can share it, do whatever. We have a lot of people that register every week that don't come on live, but they see it and they share it out there and they use it. So you'd just do us a big solid if you did enjoy this, that we would love that. Any other feedback, we're happy. We'd love good, bad, or indifferent. If you go, Jason talks too much, get him off
You
the
don't
deal.
have to agree.
That's okay. I've heard it before, but they need to tell me more, because otherwise I just keep talking. We're going to send this out, like I said, shortly. We'll have everybody's email on there, but anything else we can do, we
Thanks,
just
April.
really appreciate it. Thank you, April.
Well, it was Matt's idea. He did it. That's the cool part. And if you have any questions about it, April, reach out to Matt. He's awesome. One of the most prolific fundraisers we've ever met, and he's on our team. So, we're the lucky beneficiaries of that. And we're available to share a call, or he's available.
Yeah, and it can be on anything. If you guys want some time, you go, I've got this thing that's really bugging me.
Reach out.
Hit us up for coaching. We're happy to do it. No charge, no nothing. And several of y'all on here have done the coaching, so you can attest.
There's a free little button on there's a little button on the website that says free coaching. It's pretty easy.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, hey, we're going to get out of here. Get you out of here by noon, like we always do. And Matt, thanks so much for putting this together.
Awesome,
today.
brother.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Trevor, always a pleasure. Everybody here, thank you so much. And if you're here on the recording, thank you.
You got a winner? We got a winner.
Oh my gosh, I haven't done it.
I thought you were saying I thought you were saying goodbye before.
No, I haven't. Oh my gosh, I didn't do
Here we go.
winner. Oh no, I hope nobody left. No, nobody's left.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Can I do the sound? Let me do the sound, Jay. Hold on. Wait. I can't find it.
Hold on, I gotta get
What's
here.
the sound?
Just let me get this pulled up.
Where's the sound? I just figured out how to make those sounds that you make. Oh, I see it. Hold on.
Get to this so I can.
Did that work?
Mr. Lopez.
All right. Right on. Mr. Lopez.
Rogelio,
Congratulations.
I'm gonna mess your name up, but congratulations.
Come
on, Trevor. Here it is.
Right on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Congratulations. You got a trip that you can use for your next fundraiser to raise more money. And with that, we're going to say goodbye.
Right on. Thanks so much, everybody. See you. Have a great Thursday.
All right. Thanks, everybody.